Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a very, very special landmark and possibly historic live event where we are going to reveal the winner of the B1M and Bluebeam's Construction Story of the Year 2021. Now, I'm not alone for this. I'm joined by my favourite judge, although I say that about all the judges, Mr. Don Jacob from Nemetschek Group. How are you doing, Don?
All right, Fred. Thanks for, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you with us. And obviously, I've introduced you as being part of Nemetschek Group. You have a long association with Bluebeam, don't you?
Yeah. So as part of the on the founding team of Bluebeam, a short 20 years ago, but recently in the past year, I've moved into a role at the division, the Nemetschek division level. Currently acting as a VP of technology and innovation for the build division at Nemetschek, which is really kind of fun because you kind of get a little broader perspective, which has really been an exciting role to be in for the past year.
I can imagine. Well, it's great to have you with us for this historic moment, which is great. Now, in case you've been living under a rock for the last few months and you've missed the kind of worldwide media attention around this awards program, Construction Story of the Year is something a little bit different. I think people will know the B1M very well for covering big, impressive mega projects, infrastructure, cool skyscrapers, the stuff that kind of grabs the headlines. But with Construction Story of the Year, we really wanted to shine a light on those unheard stories, those amazing things that happen in the industry that are brought about by amazing people that don't always get the attention they deserve. We wanted to use the weight and influence of our channel and our social media reach to really lift up those stories and shine a light on them. That's what Construction Story of the Year has been all about. We launched the awards in July with Bluebeam. We were overwhelmed with incredible entries from around the world. We had all kinds of inspiring stories coming in. Somehow, through a Zoom call with our judges, we got down to a long list of 13 entries. From that, we took 3 finalists and we created specific videos on each of those 3 finalists. And those videos were shared across the B1M's network. So across our YouTube channels, across our social media, they were emailed directly to our audience, and we gauged your reaction. We looked at views, engagement, retweets, likes, shares, all that stuff that happens online. We then had a further audience debate, and we've arrived at an overall winner, which we are going to announce to you in just a few moments' time. First of all, though, Don, I really want to get your take. What was it like being involved in this awards program, and how did you find the judging process?
Yeah, no, it was, as you mentioned, I think what's really cool about it is that looking at some of those kind of the untold stories and not the mega massive new buildings and projects, which are cool and amazing. And I think over the course of time, being able to see some of those, it's been amazing. But, kind of those underdog projects, the ones that really are making a real impact in society. It's been really fun to be exposed to some of those. So I think the type of projects and it's a little different, and yet I think it highlights a really powerful part of the industry that we're all in. Being with my colleagues, Salla at Microsoft and Sara and Hyperloop and so on, and having those discussions, kind of going back and forth, and the highlights. It's been really a fun kind of sparring to see those, to talk through some of those different elements of the projects, and really kind of being with people from different perspectives. It's really fun to learn and discover together what's unique and differentiating about the projects. It wasn't easy, though. I mean, we had unfortunately a lot to go through, and really it was pretty tough to narrow it down to just one.
Absolutely. No, I can completely relate to that. I think you always hear that around awards events. People say, "Oh, the judges say it was really tough," but it genuinely this time was really, really tough. And I completely agree with what Don was just saying about hearing other perspectives on the judging panel. I went into it pretty familiar with each of the stories, and I kind of had in my mind who I thought the kind of contenders were. But then you've got these perspectives from different judges on the benefits of different things, and it blew it wide open. And the Zoom call went much longer than it was supposed to, because we were debating it for ages. And then I think getting down, the 3 entries that made our final cut, the top 3 you can see appearing on your screen now, were all incredible. And trying to pick a winner from those is next to impossible, because they are all incredible stories. They're all completely justified in being Construction Story of the Year, in my opinion. But we've had to arrive at a winner, and that is what we have done. So, ladies and gentlemen, after that long process, after that careful selection, all that debate, analysis, I am very excited to announce to everyone watching today and to the world that the winner of the B1M and Bluebeam's Construction Story of the Year 2021 is WTA Architecture and Design and their emergency quarantine facilities. Massive well done to the WTA. And I believe we have William joining us on the line from the Philippines right now. Hi, William. How are you doing?
I'm good. Everything's fine. It's great.
Thanks for joining us. How do you feel winning Construction Story of the Year?
Well, of course, it's an amazing thing. Pretty exciting because, I always see the B1M videos and they're always pretty great and informative. So it's great, being part of B1M. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Well, they're only great because of the great projects and the great stories that we cover, and yours is definitely one of those. How did this come about? Because obviously, we're all familiar with what happened in March 2020. It was a really difficult time for the world. What made you start thinking about this, and how did you kind of get going on this project?
Well, last March 20th, here in the Philippines, the hospital started issuing memos saying they were at full capacity. And so I was, 4 days after, I think I was in a call with a doctor friend of mine, and we were just discussing how we could, help out, the frontliners and all that. And we kind of started to remember we did this pavilion a few months back in terms of and the whole point of the pavilion was how to build it quick, And so we said okay, the best way we can help out, while the government is still stuck, trying to figure things out, is we can immediately augment, the capacity of our existing hospitals. And so I think the day after we started, getting in touch with our friends from the armed forces to help us with logistics, get in touch with community organizers to, do fundraising to generate funds for the project. And so pretty quickly, I think in 4 days, we were able to start constructing. And basically by April 1st, we were able to deliver the first facility. And then at first we were thinking we're going to do a prototype structure. But then before we even finished the first one, we were kind of inundated with all these requests for more facilities from the local government units and other hospitals. And so we had to quickly kind of figure out how we could ramp up the work. And so I think at one point we were working on 28 different sites and had 500 people, which we had to feed because at that time, there was nowhere to eat because everything was locked down. And so, it was really a race, for us in terms of how we could help flatten the curve. Yeah.
It's an incredible story. It's an incredibly inspiring story, especially at such a difficult time, the way your organization responded to that and helped people. And the design for this was made open source so that anyone could replicate it and use it in other countries. Is that right?
Yeah. So because, the Philippines is made up of 7,000 islands. And so we said the best way we could reach out to the other islands was by, making the plans open source and then forming a technical working group to help them out. And so that's how we kind of reached more and more people throughout our islands.
And it's being used in other countries as well now, not just in the Philippines.
Yeah, some of our friends in Singapore were able to pick up the idea and build another 3,000 beds over there, I think.
That's phenomenal. So, I mean, where do you, for other people looking at this, what do you hope they'll take from this, and where do you hope, do you hope this contributes to the industry in some way?
Yeah, I think in a way, the best thing about it was we were actually learning from the builders themselves. We were trying to kind of learn from them how to build things faster, how to, adapt things, how to make things quicker. And so the methodology was constantly, changing and improving. And I think in a lot of ways that shows, or tells us technical people that there's so much for us to learn from the community itself. Because if you get them more involved in terms of building, then you kind of learn a few shortcuts, a few strategies on how to make things actually go quicker. And so that was really, I think, something that we can use as we move forward with other projects.
Definitely, because obviously the principles around the emergency quarantine facilities can be applied to all sorts of other challenges and issues in all different parts of the world as well, I guess.
Yes, definitely, because some of the facilities were being used for housing for some of the nurses. There was even one that was being used as an emergency surgery room. Because the hospital didn't, want to let in COVID patients that needed dialysis, so we had to do a surgery room for them. And then so there were different things that it was being used for. But I think the main part was that it could be put up very quickly and without much training, without special equipment, and basically the community can actually build it themselves almost.
So what do you feel proudest of?
Well, I think we're really proud that, we were able to kind of like show that architecture and, the whole building industry, actually, that we are kind of like a vital part, of society, that there's this role that we need to play. And even in an emergency, shelter is still very vital and very important. And, it shows how we can kind of like come up with new ideas pretty quickly, and how we can be very, collaborative, because we were actually serving as the hub, bringing everyone together. And so I think that's kind of like really what we're proud of, being able to bring everyone to the table and actually contributing and doing our part.
One last question. What would you say to young boys and girls around the world at the minute, thinking about what they want to do in their life and thinking about a career in architecture and construction? What would you say to them?
I think it's, it's something that is very fulfilling, seeing what, you build, what you think about coming to fruition. And also, I think, it says a lot, this project, at least, about not being, paralyzed by fear, in terms of an emergency, like how action and agency can actually lead to, so many things. And it's important not to be bogged down by so many of the, maybe more technical aspects sometimes, but actually get things done. And that's maybe what we need moving forward as the world is changing faster and faster.
Completely agree. Well, William, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you so much for entering Construction Story of the Year. Massive congratulations for winning. But I guess thank you most of all for this project and for undertaking it, and for the impact you had on so many thousands of people's lives. It's just humbling, inspiring, all those emotions in one. So yeah, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Fred. See you again soon.
So Don, what was it about WTA that made them the winner for you?
Yeah, I think there's just there's a very natural element to it, where showing that at the time of crisis, COVID, really becoming obviously a human scale crisis, seeing our industry come together and really pretty ingeniously coming together and designing and building and delivering something that frankly saved people's lives, fundamentally, I think was really, it was just such a, showing us at our finest, us as humanity, as an industry, as creative people coming together and delivering something that just directly impacted people. One, I thought that was really, really pretty inspiring. And then the other part, kind of, it's the deep engineer kind of software guy in me that it really was thought was a really interesting aspect to the project, was making these designs available open source, making it available to the world, that larger community. And so, of course, impacting the Philippines, but now this has the opportunity to impact other regions, other areas that may be in a similar situation. So that was really interesting. And then it kind of got me thinking about, wow, this can impact, a health crisis situation that, that kind of sets a model for, well, what about if there's other disasters, and kind of building on that foundation of, you could have shelters and rapid deployment process, solutions for any number of situations. And you have that open source, crowdsourced, you can improve on it. It really kind of, impacts that immediate, but then forward and future looking. I think it really just has, in so many dimensions. I think that's what was really excited me about the project.
I completely agree. And it's that open source nature, but also the accessibility of it as well. It's the fact that there weren't construction teams able to do this quickly, that you couldn't have a long pre-construction or planning period. These needed to be built almost immediately. So making it as accessible and easy to build and as intuitive to build as possible, I think was a huge thing. And yeah, for me, I just think the whole approach and the whole attitude of this particular story, it saw a need and it went out to help people and make a difference. I think if we can shine a light on that kind of attitude in construction and see that more widely across the industry, then that's a good thing for everybody, in my opinion.
Absolutely.